Chapter 1. The Secret Book. "Look at this," said Uncle Abe to Catherine. "It's my old secret book. I made it when I was an Eagle Scout." Catherine was staying with her uncle and aunt in their new house in the Arizona desert. The living room was cluttered with moving boxes. Uncle Abe had found an old book. On the cover it read, ZYV''H YLLP-PVVK LFG!" "It's written in code," her uncle said. "What's a code?" Catherine asked. "It's a secret way of writing things," said Uncle Abe. "You can read it, but others can't. You make it by replacing one letter with another. My code works like this." Uncle Abe wrote the code out for Catherine. Catherine tried to figure out the cover. "Oh, I get it," she said. "It says, Abe's book, keep out." "I used to keep all my Eagle Scout secrets in here," her uncle said. "Like what?" Catherine asked. "Like how to pitch a tent or build a raft," Uncle Abe said. "Things like that." Catherine thought about last summer. Her uncle and aunt had taken her rafting. They rafted on the river downstream from the mountains by their old house. Her uncle and aunt were her favorite people in the world. "Does it tell you how to set the table for dinner?" Aunt Rita came into her room and winked at Catherine. They all laughed and headed into the kitchen. Chapter 2. Exploring the Desert. The next morning, Uncle Abe took Catherine out exploring around the house. Aunt Rita didn't come. "I still have a lot of unpacking to do," said Aunt Rita. "I may have to go into town to run some errands, but you two have a good time." Catherine and her uncle wandered out into the yard. Catherine looked at all the sand. The air felt hot and dry. There were a few rocks scattered around, but that was it. "There aren't any plants," she said. "This is a plant," said Uncle Abe. He brought her over to a tall green thing that was covered with tiny spikes. "It's called a cactus. Some cactuses are over 300 years old." "Wow," said Catherine. "Where does all the sand come from?" "It comes from rocks," Uncle Abe explained. "They get broken down into small pieces by the wind and water." "But there's no water here," said Catherine. "There used to be a long, long time ago," Uncle Abe started to explain. "Now it's a desert. That means that—" "Look at that cactus," Catherine said, interrupting her uncle. She pointed and ran across the yard. "It's huge." Suddenly, she heard a strange sound. It sounded like someone was shaking a can of beans. "Stand still!" Uncle Abe shouted at the top of his lungs. Catherine stood still. Uncle Abe walked slowly over to her, just as he stepped over a small pile of rocks. Catherine saw something move underneath it. She was disgusted. It was a snake. "Uncle Abe, look out!" she cried. But it was too late. Catherine's uncle fell to the ground as the snake slithered away. Uncle Abe had been bitten by a rattlesnake. Chapter 3. HMZPV YRGVH! Catherine remained standing right where she had stopped. She thought she might start to cry. "Catherine," Uncle Abe said slowly, "I need your help. I need to keep very still. Go back to the house and get Aunt Rita for me, okay?" "Okay," said Catherine. She wasn't going to cry. Uncle Abe needed her. She ran back to the house. "Aunt Rita!" Catherine yelled as she went in the front door. "Uncle Abe's been bitten by a rattlesnake." There was no answer. She looked out the front window. The car was gone, and so was Aunt Rita. "I guess I'm on my own," Catherine said to herself. "Come on, think." Catherine grabbed the telephone and dialed 911. She explained what had happened to the operator, who told her to stay calm. An ambulance was on its way. "The hospital is so far away," Catherine thought. "I hope they can get here in time." She was scared. Her Uncle Abe needed help, but she was only 10 years old. What did she know about snake bites? Then she had a thought. "The secret book," she said out loud. The book was still sitting on the living room table. "There's got to be something about snakes in here," Catherine thought. Sure enough, she found a picture of a snake on one of the pages. Below the snake it read, HMZPV YRGVH. Catherine went to work on the coded message. This was it. It was hard work to read the whole thing. After a minute or two, Catherine had figured it out. She quickly got together the things that she needed. It was so cluttered in the house with all the boxes everywhere that this took a little time. I hope he's okay, she thought. Chapter 4. Catherine Saves the Day. Uncle Abe was right where Catherine had left him. He looked awful. Aunt Rita's gone, Catherine told him, but I think I know what to do. Catherine undid her uncle's sandal. She then cut open his pant leg with scissors she had brought from the house. On his calf, she saw the snake bite. There were 2 small red holes in the skin. Here, she said, handing him a long bandage. Tie this tight around your leg 2 inches above the bite. We need to get your leg below your heart, Catherine told Uncle Abe. Catherine looked around and saw a large rock. She helped her uncle over to the rock. Sit on this, she said. Uncle Abe did what he was told. Catherine picked up a bowl of soap and water that she had brought from the house. She started to wash the bite. Just then, Catherine heard the sound of a siren. It was the ambulance. Over here, Catherine called. 2 men rushed over. Catherine explained to them about the snake. One man took out a small jar and a needle. He filled the needle with some liquid from the jar. Then he put the needle into Uncle Abe's arm. This is called anti-venom, the man said. It will make your uncle feel better. Catherine heard another car drive up. Soon Aunt Rita came running over. Your husband was bitten by a rattlesnake, one ambulance worker said. He'll have to come with us to the hospital, but he's going to be okay. Your niece's quick thinking may have saved his life. It wasn't me, said Catherine. It was the secret book. No, sweetie, said Uncle Abe. The book may have helped, but it was you. I name you an honorary Eagle Scout. You were so quick with the code, you really did save my life. Catherine didn't know about being an Eagle Scout. Right now, she was happy to just nuzzle up to her favorite uncle and know he was safe.